Welcome back to Civil Discourse Now. I'm Mark Small. My co-host is Paul Ogden.
Mark.
Paul, you want
I get to do the spot. We're here at Big Hat Books. It has a number of fine selections, including Dan Barden, The Next Right Thing. It's a novel by...
It's this camera.
A novel by Liz... Liz Barden's, the owner of Big Hat Books' husband.
Yes.
So we get Dan Barden, who is a professor at Ball State.
Butler
University.
Don't be the two of them.
This will be my last commercial because I've screwed this up, obviously.
I hope not. You're running for judge.
Well, that's true. Big Hat Books also has a place upstairs here where we are to rent, and it has a gallery as well. Mark?
Thank you.
I'm going to make a point of some sort.
I wanted to be able to make a statement for like a couple of minutes without being interrupted.
Be corrected.
So I can have a coherent presentation.
So you want to okay, what do you want to say, Mark?
I want to say this, that the main conclusions of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in 2001 were these, that global average surface temperature has risen since the late 19th century. There's strong evidence. There's strong evidence that most of the warming observed over the last 50 years is attributable to human activities. And if greenhouse emissions continue, the warming will also continue with temperatures projected to increase by 1.4 degrees centigrade to 5.8 degrees centigrade between 1990 and 2100. 5.8 degrees centigrade is about 13 degrees Fahrenheit. So 5.8 is about 2 to 1, isn't it? Yeah. It's like 9 over 5 times 4. I forget the equation. My point is this: no scientific body of national or international standing has maintained a dissenting opinion. The last was the American Association of Petroleum Geologists, which in 2007 updated its 1999 statement rejecting the likelihood of human influence on recent climate with its current non-committal position. In other words, nearly everybody on climate change is on the same page, and they say, yeah, this is a phenomenon that's caused by human activity. There are people who try to sow seeds of doubt. Those are institutes funded by petroleum companies and the oil industry, because the oil industry likes to sell fossil fuels, and they make a lot of money at it. And then there will be side issues that arise that divert people's attention from the main thing. The main thing is we need to curtail our use of fossil fuels, and we need to use things like solar energy, wind energy. Otherwise, we're just going to pollute the planet so much, people are going to die because we're going to have so much. Okay, now, because with the rising temperatures, we have waters rise, the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole shrink, and you can see the photographs of the polarized caps, which we were going to put on as one of our new techie things today.
Yeah, put the picture of Mars polarized cap shrinking too, and
why
try to tell us that the SUVs on Mars are causing that.
So, first of all, why are we assuming that today's temperatures are the ideal? Why? The climate has been warmer before. The Earth has been warmer before. Man does better with a warmer climate.
Actually, it was warmer when the dinosaurs roamed the Earth. There was a very brief period of time during which Europe was warmer. The rest of the planet, other parts of the planet, were colder to offset that.
That was debunked.
No,
that was
wasn't.
debunked. The medieval warming period affected more than just Europe.
Okay, who debunked it?
They found, I believe they tested a glacier. And that was rumored to have collapsed because of global warming, and they found out that it wasn't actually in place during the medieval warming period, that it formed afterwards.
The study that I have that went through how does the medieval warm period compare to current global temperatures refers to the glaciers and refers to that information and says that the rest of the planet actually was offset. It wasn't the entire planet. Right now we have the entire planet warming up, and with increases in temperatures we have things change for us. The status quo is what we want, because this is how we live.
It was the Larsen B ice shelf specifically, that's been cited as evidence of global warming. Al Gore cited it himself in saying, well, yeah, it's collapsing, therefore we've got global warming, except during the medieval warming period, the Larsen B ice shelf wasn't even in existence. And so it's not in Europe.
We should point out to the audience,
Yeah.
should be obvious by now, but you're not making phone calls, you're actually doing research on your
Yeah, this is on my Apple iPhone.
Exactly.
So I'm calling the research materials that I have up here. A couple things about the UN IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Number one, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change does not do any of its own research. What it does is it picks and chooses research from other organizations that do it, that often have a vested interest in perpetuating the myth of anthropogenic climate change because it increases their funding.
Exactly.
Okay, but
They are just as in bed
Every bit.
with money as any of the oil companies, and it is in their financial interest to say that we're all going to die unless you give us something. We're all going to die. Give me money. Stop it. So that's what they do.
Okay, wait.
And none of their research has been peer reviewed. It has not been peer reviewed because they hide it until they find someone who's sympathetic to them to look it over. That was the real scandal of the East Anglia University Climate Research Unit. They were hiding the underlying materials, their evidence, the raw data from people who might challenge it because they didn't want it challenged.
Okay.
That's not someone who's confident of his theory.
That's, first of all, it's a myth that they were trying to hide anything. There have been numerous reviews of what happened in the East Anglia email
No,
release.
they were trying to hide it in violation of the law.
No, there was no attempt to hide anything illegally. In fact, the people who did anything illegal were the people who hacked in the East Anglia.
They didn't hack
database.
into it. It was an insider. It was like their version of Deep Throat did it. These people were trying to hide public records in violation of their public record statute.
Surely, Mark, you would agree that it's wrong for science to become politicized like it has been. They are pursuing a political agenda by picking and choosing which facts it will support. And here's...
But over 90% of the climate scientists, the people in that discipline.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
And number one, no, they don't. They keep coming out every day and saying, I'm going back on this. Most of them are like Peter Gleich. They know nothing about the climate. But the second thing is, they don't know statistics. That's where a lot of Christopher Lord Monckton information
Oh, now
comes
he's
from.
a lord. I love
He is a lord. He's Viscount Monckton. He's run all the information through statisticians because he's not a statistician himself. And they have found so many errors in the reports that are cited by the IPCC that they say it's just not credible at all.
And here's another problem. They will focus in on the temperatures during recorded history. And recorded temperatures, official temperatures, only go back about 140 years. What they do is they feed this data in there, and the temperatures have risen, I think, 1.3 degrees Celsius, actually less than 1 degree Celsius in the last 100 years. They feed it into a computer and say, oh, look at the last 140 years, it's just going to continue going up and up and up. If you look at climate records, you have increases in temperatures and decreases in temperatures that last 10,000 years, 100,000 years. These zigs and zags of the temperatures go on for 1,000 years. You can't look at a 140-year period and say, oh, this is going to be the trend from here on out.
No, but they do look at such things as glaciers, as tree rings, because tree rings will show what weather has been for a certain period.
No, they don't. That's been debunked too. That was the issue with another part of the issue with the Climate Research Unit, because they were using tree rings as proxies for temperature for the time periods where there were no records of temperature. And then what happened was they found out that the tree rings were not behaving in the last century the way they're supposed to behave. That's why they said hide the decline, because the tree rings were behaving differently than the temperatures were indicated under their models, and they couldn't explain why.
And
So that's been debunked.
now, your theory has been debunked because, as with
No, your theory's been debunked.
no, The entire review showed that
This is a sham.
this is not.
This was laughed at.
No, this
Because
was.
these people had vested interests in protecting the theory of anthropogenic global warming. All they wanted to do was cover it up. This was nothing but a whitewash. And
Okay.
it was ripped as such at the time it came out.
Well, let's look at who the IPCC is comprised of. They have U.S. Global Change Research Team, Arctic Climate Impact Assessment. That's the
Yeah, and I'm
intergovernmental.
sure it's in their interest to perpetuate this.
Oh,
to get more
I don't know why
funding.
you think that side is not politicized. They're extremely political. They're saying, oh, we've decided that there's no more debate. Don't look at her. They hide evidence that's against their position.
Oh, what evidence have they hidden? Please tell me.
The
Well,
fact that the
they
tree
don't-
rings don't correlate
Yeah, and
with
they don't hold
temperature.
back. They only want to look at recorded history.
They
don't
don't-
want to look at the last.
They don't
3
let
years.
other people see their raw data. Because specifically, and that was an email in there, that was an email from the climate research unit, they just want to debunk us, so don't give the data to them. That was an actual
The
email
debate
in
is
there.
over. The debate is
Yeah.
over.
It's not over. According to an editorial in Nature, the stolen emails have revealed no scientific conspiracy, but do highlight ways in which climate researchers could be better supported in the face of public scrutiny.
Why don't you cite the Sierra Club, too? They're biased.
That's Nature. It is a scientific journal. These
A
all
sympathetic scientific journal.
to people who have peer review articles, and not to people who are just running things out for the Koch
They're
brothers.
supposed to be peer-reviewed by people who actually disagree with the theory so they can recreate the conditions. That has not been done with anthropogenic global warming. Not at all.
Well-
They only go to sympathetic people, they hide their data, they actively prevent, and that was another part of the scandal, they prevent dissenting voices from being published so they can say they haven't been
Very
peer-reviewed.
political.
It is a scandal and a fraud.
And let's look at the scandal and the fraud perpetrated by Senator James Inhofe when he released a press blog saying that over 400 prominent scientists disputed man-made global warming claims in 2007. Senate report debunks consensus. He's using your verb.
Let me guess, that was by Barbara Boxer?
No.
Yeah,
This is from Stephen Dutch, National Applied Sciences, University of Wisconsin, Green Bay.
No. The Senate report was probably by Barbara Boxer's committee. And
I'm-
she's one of the big proponents of anthropogenic global warming.
No, they're saying debunks global warming. So she would be going the other way. If that's,
No, you said debunks the number of scientists that dispute global warming. That's what you just
more
said.
more than 650 international scientists dissent over man-made global warming claims. More than 650 international scientists dissent over man-made global warming claims. December 10, 2008. In this report, he goes through on the credentials of those who debunk it, who question global climate change, and he sifts through all these and questions the credentials of the 650 people, looks at people who say, look, I was taken out of context. We're out of time on this segment. We'll be right back when I'll cut Paul and Jeff apart even more. Be right back. Just a couple of minutes.